Great, good questions, good participation. There's a couple more questions I want to go through here, and then we're just going to leave it open for general Q&A as well. So one of the other themes that we heard again and again was it's important to establish a presence at the event. And I believe when I talked to both of you, you both always have somebody there when it's an outside group or after hours. Is that, Mike, can you speak to that?
Absolutely. We always do have to have a custodian on site. They act as our main point of contact for any event. Almost nothing can happen in our schools without having a custodian there. On the weeknights, we already have a custodian at the building, so as long as what they're asking for is reasonable, they're not going to have 700 people for a large scale event. Then we allow them to use our existing custodians that are already on shift doing their regular cleaning without having to charge separately for custodial support. But on the weekends, if anyone at all uses our schools, including our in-school agencies, our athletics department, our band department, if they're going to rent out the school for the weekend for a performance, they're required to pay the bill for that custodian. And although it may be coming from the same pot of money, that's more of an administrative tool. But having the support at the event is definitely something that helps keep down your problems, having a presence there. But we've actually moved a little bit of how we handle our weekend events when we have these overtime details. We found that the public in our district, being very, very small, a very tight-knit community, everyone pretty much knows each other. So we've been able to say, okay, we're not going to have the custodian sitting in the room at all times while you guys are playing basketball. We give them a walkie-talkie so that way they can reach them. And we actually assign the custodian some smaller tasks to do throughout the building. It might just be wet mopping a couple of floors, wiping down some desks, or doing some small maintenance projects. And that helps out the school district fill some gaps that we couldn't get to during the week. And it kind of benefits everybody. Certainly won't be the case for everyone that they could do that, but that's what we do here.
That's great. That's a creative and great use of time for the custodians to have to be there after hours to get them to tackle some other tasks that can't get to during the week. That's really good.
Yep.
Michelle, can you speak to this as well about having a presence? I believe when we talked and discussed it, you have somebody there for every after-hours event or weekend event?
That's correct. During the week for our rental events, we do rely on the custodian. We program doors to be open. There are time limits during the week. We have curfews depending on whether it's an elementary or a middle school or a high school of when events need to end. On the weekend, however, we don't open up those doors without an LISD representative on board. Sometimes that is our custodial staff, most oftentimes not. We assigned field managers and building managers. We were asked by our payroll department to separate those duties, so that comes with that title of either a building manager or a field manager. And then they welcome the customer and they make sure that the building is left or the fields are left in as good or better than the way they found it.